This public hearing is part of an investigation by the department into the June 15, 2009 petition that was made by over 20 Aquarion customers in the town of Hull regarding the water main break in the company's distribution system in Hingham, Mass. on May 26, 2009. The petition requests that the department review the circumstances surrounding the water main break and the extent to which Aquarion's operations, maintenance, and/or engineering practices were contributing factors in the break.
When a water main break occurs, Aquarion's policy is to notify the local fire and police departments and other local and state officials. Customers are notified if they're going to be without water for more than an hour related to a main break. Customarily, repairs of the main break are made and the service is restored in 4 to 8 hours. As to the system maintenance, which is also subject to tonight's hearing, we maintain our system to industry and regulatory guidelines, including flushing, which, as you may know, is going on in town right now. In addition, we have a regular program of valve operation, where we go in and open and close valves to make sure they're all functional. We're regularly replacing meters. We regularly replace water mains. As you know, we've done that over in Atlantic Ave this summer. And services replaced as necessary.
But Hull is very unique. It's at the end of your system. One break shuts off the whole system. One break can affect the color throughout the system. I also believe that there should be more aggressive flushing program. There is a lot of deposits in the Hull's pipes. It is at the end of the line. When everything gets flushed down from Hingham, it was my understanding a couple of years ago when a representative came in, everything goes towards the end. Everything gets flushed down towards Hull. So I think that with its unique geographical location, the setup of the system, we need more aggressive flushing, more than every 3rd year or 4th year, etc. if there is a drought. I really do believe it has to be tackled, and above all, communication has to be made more than what has been done.
In large part, we're here this evening because there is a customer base in Hull, a captive customer base that is dissatisfied with the customer service that was received, not only as a result of this break, but the long history of very, very large rate hikes over time. And there is a recognition in town that obviously there's a water service and that the company that owns the water company or the water delivery system has got to make some degree of profit, but there's also an expectation that in exchange for that profit, that the service level should be exemplary, because we experience some of the highest water rates in the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth in general has some of the highest rates in the country. And I know my office received a lot of calls for 2 days after that break, that people calling in saying that their water was dirty, the water quality was poor, and so forth. And that was a direct and proximate result of not having done regular flushing of the system. Because, you know, during a break, you're going to have some discoloration, but all over the peninsula it didn't seem to make sense to the folks, and I think that's why this particular petition was filed. Now, it was indicated in the presentation that the system is being maintained to industry standards and guidelines. I would ask the DPU to have Aquarion validate that. If there are industry standards, let's look at those standards and guidelines and then publish how they have met those standards and guidelines for flushing, frequency of flushing, and to see whether, because I don't believe that those guidelines and standards have been met. And I would just ask that DPU requests a demonstration from Aquarion that they have met the standards and guidelines. In addition, I would ask DPU to request from Aquarion, under the pains of penalty and perjury, all of their complaint logs relative to this incident, so we can see what was the volume of calls that they received relative to this incident, so that you would have a fair picture of how widespread the concern was in this community. And, you know, the last point is, it is true Aquarion is trying to make a bigger investment into the community relative to flushing, but communication, you know, as others I'm sure are going to say this evening, is just key in this small community. Because there's a real sense, in essence, that we're an island. And because there's a sense that we're an island, anything that impacts delivery of critical services, really concerns folks. And with the technology that's available today, I can get an alert on my cell phone when the Fall River Bridge is going up. It would seem to me that, with the amounts of money that this company has at their disposal on an international level, and the IT functions that are available to, a major Fortune 500 company, that they could figure out a way to communicate effectively and immediately, or at least with some greater immediacy than what we've seen, when there is something that's going to disrupt, a fundamental service that people expect to have.
I initiated this complaint with the DPU. On that morning, I woke up with a phone call from a tenant. I had 27 tenants in the town hall, informing me that my big building, my 6-unit building, 3rd floor, had absolutely no water. My first thought was, my God, don't turn anything on. And I hung up and called up to the police station, was informed that there was a water break. I called my tenant back, explained to them there was a water break, and got up and got dressed and went to Hingham to the Stop and Shop, and as soon as they were open, brought water back to my tenants. I never heard from Aquarion. We never knew there was water available to my tenants or to any resident in the town hall. I didn't hear anything other than my tenants continually complaining because the water was dirty and was undrinkable. And you just kept going back to Stop and Shop and buying gallons of water. We had a channel 10 in town. They didn't use the system. They didn't use the words 911. I have page after page of documentation and questions and concerns with not only that water main break in May, there was another one on 8/23, which was the Saturday morning after the storm, roughly within 50 feet of the same location from May. While I had gone out to check properties early in the morning, 7 o'clock, came up Rockland Street, there was a cruiser sitting there. At first I thought it was the overflow from the estuary, and when I pulled up he said no, because the tides were so high, they had a water main break, and they were again waiting for their servicemen to come out at 7 a.m.